There's so much to be said. We're gonna take our time. We're gonna change the world.
You are tuning in today to This Needs to Be Said, TNTBS, and I am your host, Katherine Waddell. There is such a need for people to be able to be truthful today. We've been tactful all around the world, and in the midst of that, trying to fit in so we conform. We want to be accepted. Then one day you ask yourself, what is my truth? While digging through a lot of baggage gathered from wanting to belong somewhere and not sure what you believe, there's a crying out for all those things that should be said that are not being said. No longer will we pretend that there are no issues to address or that we are only going to talk about certain ones. This show, coupled with our blog site and our website, will be the beginning of you finding your way. There is an elephant in the room. Let's talk about it. You were thinking it? We're going to talk about it. For tuning in today to This Needs to Be Said Wednesday. Our theme is Understanding You, and it's just to give yourself a look in the mirror, a good look in the mirror, examine yourself, and how can I be better in all areas of my life. On Monday, we talked about 28 things. Actually, we started talking about 28 things that you can start doing as a self-analysis as opposed to waiting for that employer to give you your review annually or every quarter, however they do it. You're already reviewing yourself to see what can I do to be better. So you're not thrown off. But it also keeps us accountable to ourselves. But if you're not able to do that, you can always get a friend who has no problem telling you, hey, you need to improve here, to do this analysis with you. Well, today's segment is going to tie into that, which is wonderful for you to look more specifically even before having put in some work to analyze. You're going to go in prepared. So, Andre, who do we have with us today that's going to share with our audience some things about understanding themselves better so that they won't say, oh, I'm getting overlooked for this job or I'm getting overlooked for this opportunity? Who do we have with us today that's going to help us with some pointers?
Well, today we have someone who actually deals with, I guess I would say cultivating or kind of giving a lot of people the opportunity to have the right and correct tools that they need. But she deals with career services, and so I like to look at her as a professional in this area. Today we have Bridget. You can say, is it Barsman? Can you pronounce
Barsman, yeah.
Okay, is that correct? Did I?
Yeah,
okay.
Barsman, yeah.
So that means that my writing is getting better. But I definitely want to appreciate her, for coming on today and kind of enlighten us a little bit, kind of preparing a lot of people who's going out to look for that next position or that career choice and things like that. It gives them some tools that they can use to get out there and win that career. And sometimes it's not just really about just the career. Also, it's just about being a winning attitude just around even our families, our friends, and things like that. So these are some of the things I think that's very important when it comes to when we choose those careers, and then we begin to choose those paths that we have in our life that we think that would make us happy. So, Bridget, we could hit you with a few questions, and just kind of let us know where we're going with as far as our some of the things that we think we need to improve on. Of course, to have that winning career or that position. I'd like to start off with the first question, is that when a person sits down at their computer and they begin to writing the cover letter, because a lot of times the cover letter is almost like that first step that they use as a sales tool to try to get that position or try to get that job that they're seeking after. What are some of the things that you notice as far as that development stage? What do you notice that a lot of people are making bad choices or not doing as well in?
Well, one thing I noticed first of all, people are really afraid of cover letters. And one thing I noticed is they think that cover letters aren't important. And cover letters are important, and it's really important that they're tailored to each job that you apply to, And it's also really important that they're tailored to the job description, and you use the keywords that are in the job description, and you use those keywords in the cover letters, and you really bring out and highlight your best qualifications that make you a good match for the job, and you show really what, why you should be hired for that job.
Now, I have a question. For people, we're understanding that there are going to be more jobs stimulated in the community. At least that's what we believe there to be because of we just found out yesterday the Democratic National Convention is coming. So people would be thinking, okay, there's some more opportunities for work out there. Why wouldn't a person be able to get those new jobs that are being brought into the community? There are jobs out there, but I just can't get them.
Well, I think because people don't think outside the box and they think really traditionally, they do the same things over and over, and they sit down at the computer and they go on to Monster and they go on to Career Builder and they do the same things over and over, and they send the same resume to the same places, and they're doing what everybody else is doing. And what I really encourage people to do is to think outside the box and get away from their computers sometimes and go out and talk to people and network with people in the community. So whether that's through social networking or through networking with groups or individuals, people that they know, ask people that you already know to introduce you to people that they know, especially with the convention coming. People will be connected to people connected to the convention. So find out who, has connections to the convention, because that's where the jobs are going to be. Get leads to those jobs before they're published. Once they're published, you're competing against 500 other people who are applying to those jobs.
Okay, and Andrea, you may have another question, but I'm going to jump right in. This sounds a lot like you doing business for yourself. Because a lot of people, these are things that people that are running their own companies, this is what they do. They ask for the introduction, or they, somehow they get the introduction. They want to be in the right place at the right time to get these opportunities. Certainly you don't have to do that much work getting a job, right?
Yeah, this is definitely like running your own business. I mean, you have to sit down, come up with a sort of strategic plan. You have to kind of come up with what I call sort of job search central, have a space in your home devoted to your job search, devote a specific amount of time to your job search. So whether you're working or you're in school, you want to devote specific dedicated time to your job search, and you want to have a plan. You want to keep track of your contacts. You want to do follow-up with your contacts. You want to spread out your strategies so that you're not just dedicating one type of strategy. So you're spending a certain amount of time on the internet, you're spending a certain amount of time out face-to-face with people, and, there is a cost involved, too. Just like any business, there's an investment.
So, I have a question. Say, for instance, I've seen this happen one time where there was a person that actually had a business card with all of his information, and they would attend these, what they call mixers. Mm-hmm. And do you think that's a good approach to have, to approach like the maybe the H&R manager from Microsoft, and you approach them and say, here's my business card? Do you think that would be a good approach?
I think that's an excellent approach. I think if you have your cover letters, your resumes, your business cards, if you're in a field where you need a portfolio and you have that all together, you give such a professional appearance that makes such a great impression on any potential employer. You look like you have it all together. Who wouldn't want to hire you? So you want everything to match. You want to look You want it to look like you're, one put together person. Like you've got, an office at home, you're efficient, you've got it all together.
Now, wouldn't the person be afraid that they're running the risk of looking overqualified when they do that? Because I've heard people say that.
With the business card or with everything? With the whole...
What you're saying, them putting their best foot forward and everything matching, and they look like they have everything together. And I agree with you, myself, who wouldn't want to hire the person that, has everything together, organized. But sometimes that could come across as... or I believe it could come across as being overqualified.
Well, I've heard that too, and some people think they might be overqualified because they've got too many degrees on their resume, and I think you just have to go with what you are and who you are, and you just have to find the right position for yourself, and you just have to be in the right place at the right time and find the right employer. That's just my philosophy.
Okay, so some of the things that people are not doing for themselves is marketing themselves well, putting their best foot forward on the job. Now, some other things, what can I do so I can understand what would be my reasoning? Because we, in general nature, human nature, we like to blame something or someone else for us not being successful. So how can I make sure that I'm doing my best possible effort, putting forth my best possible effort when looking into a job or even a new career?
Well, I think that some people are only looking at places that say that they're hiring, so you can look into companies that aren't necessarily saying that they're hiring. If you're really interested in a company, you can go and you can offer to volunteer for them, and they may like you so much that they invite you, they create a position for you. So that happens sometimes. Another piece of advice is just to, you have to be aggressive in this type of environment. You can't sit at home. You need to be out and about. You have to, I advise people if they apply online to also follow up with hard copies of resumes, whether it's through the mail or in person. A lot of people have had success following up with personal appearances at companies if they can identify the company that they're applying to and the hiring manager. People have had a lot of success showing up with hard copies of their resumes at those companies. Another thing is follow-up after an interview, following up with thank you notes, thank you letters, not just emails, but actual thank you letters. Whatever you can do to help you stand out from the rest of your competition, doing things that the rest of your competition isn't doing.
Okay, we're getting ready to take a quick break, but Bridget, give us your full name and tell us where you're from again before we go to the break.
Bridget Barsy, and I'm the Associate Director of Career Services at DeVry University.
All right, we'll be back in a moment.
Call in to make a comment or ask a question at 347-994-3320. Or check us out at the website, www.thisneedstobesaid.com.
Lucifer on your lips, I melt when you kiss my face. I dream that we're in heaven, even of indiscretion, do it all over again. A fight to the finish, but no way we can win. Lost in the beginning, but you gain in the end. The pain in the end is the passion in your pen. Lost as you remember, throwing kisses to the wind. Will I see you once more? What's the future got in store? Will I ever touch that skin, waiting for me to explore? Will I ever hear your voice, invite me to escape? Calling me closer with every step I take. Or will I realize that it's just way too late? Our relationship is crumbled cause it couldn't take the weight.
I know I said that we should stop, but I can never get enough. And day and night I crave your touch, and nothing can control the rush I feel. I'm near, I feel it in my spine. One move is all it takes with you.
I saw a hole in the sun and wondered where you were. Took a shot of recollection and I stumbled on the thought that you sat in my bed, got lost in the calm. My nature waking in the morning, guess I rose before dawn. Nobody noticed you were missing in the midst of the night, except the neighbors wondering why my house was so bright. Dripping pulsars on my tongue as I taste what you feel. A burning sensation, the passion so real. The pull is so strong, the moment so wrong. So we say our goodbyes, I put you back where you belong. So the world can see you shine, recognize the grand design. Turn my eyes up to see and know that you are mine. I wait for the eve, knowing what all is in store. Waiting for the death so you can visit once more. The passion overwhelms us, I'm looking in your eyes. Tears falling down cause it's almost sunrise.
I know I said that we should stop, but I can never get enough. And day and night I crave your touch, and nothing can control the rush I feel. I'm near, I feel it in my spine. One move is all it takes with you in my
I love you, I hate you, I hate you. Despise the oleander that God used to make you addicted to the poison. I chased it with chamomile, envious of the tipless taste on his tongue. If we both die, at whose grave will you be? Which one? Answer that I see in the eye of the storm that ravages my pages. My forms just collapse. My hope left the room when my foundation cracked. No fairy tale ending, no happily ever after. Destiny just laughs at this natural disaster. Doesn't explain why I feel so alone. My happiness a refugee that can't return home. My love's been displaced by the views I can't escape. The feeling I can't erase. The face I can't replace. I tattooed her name and I feel so insane. Who surges the shore for another hurricane?
I know I said that we should stop, but I can never get enough. And day and night I crave your touch.
That's usually called an internship, and you have to do it because there's so many hours that are required of you before you graduate. Now, you're saying a whole different concept to some person that's already in life. They're looking for a job, but you're saying go volunteer your time, make yourself look good, put yourself in front of people. And it seems easy enough, but a lot of people have the mindset, I need to get paid for my time. So explain that just a little bit more. Help us see that this is a viable option.
Well, the way the economy is these days, volunteering has become a really important part of the job search process. So a lot of people with experience who are either changing careers or might be looking for jobs in careers they've already had go out and look for volunteer opportunities in different businesses. What's nice about volunteering is it's not necessarily a 40-hour-a-week commitment. So you can volunteer 1 day a week, 2 days a week. You can volunteer on a Saturday. You can volunteer a couple hours a day. But that's become a really popular way to keep experience on your resume and to also create new contacts, to create new references and recommendations. And also that way when you go into an interview, you can talk about what it is that you've been doing since you left your last job.
Okay, Bridget, I have, it's funny that you said that. I was just talking with a gentleman today, and I asked him, I said, have you thought about actually just volunteering yourself to a company, because a lot of times they can see that as, you're taking the initiative to really, you're really serious about getting into this particular career field.
Mhm.
So that what are some of the resources that a lot of times these graduates or soon-to-be graduates can use to say, for instance, is there like a forum or some kind of blog or some kind of posting board that they can have access to? Because I was kind of given a lot of information about even Microsoft. They actually hold these meetings. I think it's like Thursday, the second or third Thursdays every month or something like that, where they sometimes give away an iPad. You get like a lot of free software, things like that. These are how can a person, or I guess a person who's not actually in the job field or working in that profession, get access to these type of meetings that goes on?
About internships or volunteering?
Just networking.
Oh, networking. Well, networking is one of my favorite topics. So, there's
That's good.
Yeah. I personally love LinkedIn. It's linkedin.com. I spend a ton of time on LinkedIn. If you're not familiar with it, definitely check it out. You can meet people in your community. You can meet people in your profession. You can join groups. You can make connections, and those connections can lead to in-person connections. You can find recruiters that will recruit you in your profession. You can find events. So if you're talking about networking events, there's a place on LinkedIn to look for events. So that's one place. There's also a website called meetup.com. That's meetup.com. So that's another one. That's a local. They're found locally all over the country. So those are two of my real go-to sites. There are, depending on what industry you're in, you can just Google different networking groups for Charlotte, but within LinkedIn there's like Network Charlotte and Charlotte Professionals and all kinds of groups like that. And that's just a great way to network. I could go on and on about networking, but if you're in human resources, there's a Charlotte area SHRM group. If you're in project management, there's a PMI association. If you're getting your MBA, there's MBA groups. So I definitely encourage people to get involved in their local associations, their trade associations. And then if you're a young professional, there's also young professional groups that are part of the chambers.
Oh, I think I heard of that. Up in Michigan, I have some friends up there that's a part of the of that group. Because that's nationwide, isn't it?
Well, I think with each city, there's young professionals. Yeah, as far as I know, yeah, that's my understanding.
Okay, because I know I heard that one before, and I know a couple of them on Facebook have a page for it on Facebook.
Well, there you go too. That's another way to find groups is on Facebook. I'm not as active on Facebook, but there's groups on Facebook, the same way that there's groups on LinkedIn. So, and there's job search groups on Facebook too. So that's another way to go.
But now that I mentioned Facebook, of course, me myself, I never was a MySpace person. I thought it was always for the younger crowd, and I emphasize younger crowd because I'm still consider myself young too, Isn't that right, Catherine?
Yes, you do, Andre. You do consider yourself young.
No, you're supposed to say you are young, Andre.
I'm in the younger crowd, so I am of those you're referring to.
Okay, that's one person off the Christmas card list right there. But
I still have time to redeem myself, whatever.
Let me just say about Facebook. One thing about Facebook is that's one of your best networking tools because that's your most natural network right there. Your first network to go to is your Facebook network. Those are the people that know you the best, that have known you the longest, that care about you the most, and you put on there as your status update or whatever it's called on Facebook, I'm looking for a job or I just had a great interview today or something, and those people will respond right away. And there are a lot of tools on Facebook right now for job searching. I just saw and sent out information about how it's connected to Simply Hired. There's a link. There's a tool that connects it to Simply Hired that's really interesting. But that's a really great natural network to go to.
So, but it also has its drawbacks, I was thinking, too, because a lot of times employers will actually go to the Facebook, especially like if they look at your resume or your application, anything like that. Sometimes these employers will actually, the first thing go do is that they will go to these Facebook and see if you're on there and kind of track your activity.
Well, actually, okay, so if we go back a couple steps, if you're looking for a job, you definitely need to clean up your social networking sites because you will be Googled, without a doubt. So one of the first things employers will do, employers and recruiters and career services people will Google you and see what's going on with you online because if you're not online, you sort of don't exist to employers. So you will come up and your Facebook page will come up and your LinkedIn page better come up because you better be on LinkedIn and your Facebook page better be clean. And, yeah, you're right. I agree. So if you're in a job search, clean up your pages.
Wouldn't that seem like a controlled thing? Because I hear people, well, I want to be an individual. Don't I have any of my own private life? And I'll tie this into any organization you're attached to. You are a representative for them, not only when you're in a meeting or clocked in or working with them, but when you're away from that organization, you are a representative. You are the face that people will see that's attached to whatever it is that you're doing, whether it's work, volunteering, your religious institute, any fraternal organization, anything that you're attached to, you're a representative of it. So you don't really have free time, I guess, to not be clean on Facebook or, you don't have time to droop your pants and be in a grocery store and just be casual. You can't go to the grocery store with your rollers and your scarf on and your pajama bottoms. You can't do that. And it just seems, I've heard people say, well, what I do in my private time is my private time. And I try to remind them it's club rules. You want to be accepted into a said club, whether it's a job or an organization. You want to be accepted. There are requirements. And even when you're not there, there's still those requirements. They still govern you by those.
Yeah,
that's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah. Since you brought that up, I thought I would Google myself and just see what was out there.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Anything you don't want to admit to, Andre, because I'm going to Google you now.
Well, the thing is that I've noticed that some guy on here, his first name
Some guy?
Well, it's the same name, but he spelled his first two initials like as capitalized. And but he got on there, Death Wish. I'm like, Death Wish? Oh, my goodness, that's not me. Hello.
So are you concerned that if an employer pulls that up, they might think that's you?
It's good to know what's on there, though. It's good to know what they're seeing so that you know what they're seeing. so that if it does come up, or you can, like, you know, bring it up if you think it's worth bringing up. So, yeah.
Yeah. I thought I'd just take a look, but most of my, I got a pretty clean record. I'm pretty reputable.
Yeah, we just got to dig in your background, and we're going to have to do a little bit more than Google you. Well, I know your time is coming to an end with us today, Bridget, but I thank you for coming on the show today. And we're going to take a quick break again, and we're getting ready for our healthy eating and sensual tip with Chef Bernadette also coming up next. Thank you for the tips that you've so much. People will be able to get away from the excuses of someone else is holding them down. And another thing before you go, Bridget, just wanted to say, is if a person has done all of the things that you've talked about today, they can walk away from that situation, that job that they tried to get, with a good feeling knowing they put their best foot forward and just continue to do a good job. I think when we know we've done our best, we don't look around to blame anybody. So now they've been given some tools, thanks to you, of how to put themselves in a better position because a lot of times you don't know what your other competition is doing anyway. You don't know what they put on their resume. You don't know what they did, but you know you did your best. So thank you for those tips, okay?
Oh, thank you.
I'll be talking with you soon, Bridget. Thank you again.
Oh, thank you. Bye.
Call in to make a comment or ask a question at 347-994-3320. Or check us out at the website, www.thisneedstobesaid.com. are tuning in today to This Needs to Be Said, TNTBS, and I am your host, Katherine Waddell. There is such a need for people to be able to be truthful today. We've been tactful all around the world, and in the midst of that, trying to fit in so we conform. We want to be accepted. Then one day you ask yourself, what is my truth? While digging through a lot of baggage gathered from wanting to belong somewhere and not sure what you believe, there's a crying out for all those things that should be said that are not being said. No longer will we pretend that there are no issues to address or that we are only going to talk about certain ones. This show, coupled with our blog site and our website, will be the beginning of you finding your way. There is an elephant in the room. Let's talk about it. You were thinking it? We're going to talk about it.
You're just listening slow. Quans, The Leak, he's an urban novelist, and Francis Ray, Heart of the Falcon. Almost like a Harlequin Temptation book, if you remember those from years ago. So definitely click on those and support the show by doing so. Thank you, everybody who's listened the first half of the show. We gave some tips on understanding, why am I not getting those jobs that I want? And she definitely put out there that you are your own product. So market yourself as such. Market yourself like a Nike or a Coca-Cola. Brand yourself so that people will want to have you around. They want this product. So how are you selling yourself? And understand that even when you are not on a job or in a particular organization physically, that you are still a representation of those organizations. So, Andre, that was wonderful. Thank you for inviting Bridget onto the show. I hope that we'll be able to do some more with her really soon. I think those are some really good tips for people to understand themselves,
Yeah, because I think that's one of the key things is understanding that, this is kind of off the beaten path a little bit, but I was sitting in class, and I'm not going to say what class, but the person was talking to me, and I kind of wish they wasn't. You know what I mean? Like there was a fog coming out there, and I want to really say, can you kind of talk with your mouth, hand over your mouth, or maybe pops a couple of minutes, something like that.
Somebody's breath was stinky?
Yeah, it was.
I'm so horrified of that. I'm so horrified of talking to somebody and my breath stinks. And I'm not saying it never has, but I'm so afraid that I'm talking to somebody and my breath smells green or something. Oh, my goodness.
And what I was thinking is that if someone would just let people, somebody who can be honest and tell you, and you don't have to be offended by it, it's good to somebody can give you a heads up, say, hey, you kind of spoiling up my glasses a little bit. You kind of burning the rims of my glasses. Can you kind of, take care of that, And then you have somebody you can kind of bounce things off of. You get ready to go into a meeting, you're going to be talking to people, and you turn to that person, hey, am I tired? Am I good? And they can say yes or no. Or they can say, hey, here's some mints. Or hey, here's this. And,
so were you able to do that with the person that was turning talking to you?
No,
you think you would be able to tell them that?
The way I felt is that it's not. I don't think it's important enough for me to tell them because they're not going to be in my face. They're not going to be in my face long enough for me to.
It's important enough.
They're going to be in my face. They're not going to be in my face enough for it to have that much.
Oh my goodness! So now we need to gauge the importance of stinky breath. So what? You can hold your breath long enough so it doesn't matter?
Well, me being in special forces and everything. I've learned how to hold my breath a long time.
That poor person has walked away from you with stinky breath, and you didn't even tell them.
Hey,
wow.
Just look at that. I see that black belt across your tongue. Tell me that your breath can be kicking. But see, the relevance in that is having that person that you can bounce ideas off of, someone who that you trust and respect, and say, hey, what do you think about when I talk to someone? Do I give you good eye contact? Do I talk funny? Do I sound like I'm do I have the type of voice? Do I sound convincing when I'm talking about certain things? And then you have someone that you can convince, So when you go into that interview, you have been coached by a person that you trust and you believe in, and you go in with that armed, ready for that interview, or for that the first steps, or one of a few or many, interviews that you might have with that company.
So are you implying that people practice on someone?
Yeah, just practice, have someone that you can actually go to, because, a lot of times, I remember and sometimes when they go through acting school, they actually practice in the mirror with facial expressions, especially like comedians. They practice their impressions of other people in the mirror. So they want to have a look in them, see if they're looking right, if that facial expression look like, like the guy who does George Bush all the time. He's a funny dude. And he had that little snicker that our former president would do, and it looked just like him. So a lot of times just having that person we can bounce ideas off of or get feedback from sometimes helps a lot with even our own personal development. They have classes out there now that, what is it called? It's actually like a speaking class. I think it's some weird name. They have one here, a chapter here in Charlotte. Here you go. Toastmasters. You heard of that?
Oh, yeah, I've heard of Toastmasters. Yeah.
And they teach you how to speak and everything, and acting, and sometimes when you speak well, a lot of times that opens doors for you. Funny
you might not be able to read well, but you can speak well. That might get you somewhere.
Yeah, it gets you in the door. I was
silly, but that leads up to communication. We were talking yesterday about communication and how things are different. And in the north, I remember I had to go up north for a funeral probably 6 years ago now, and I had never been to New York before that, and I haven't been since then. But I'm from North Carolina, so I speak to people. I don't walk past people. I don't bump into you and don't say excuse me. I speak to people. Well, I got to New York, and my family was like, you don't do that here. What do you mean? They know you're not from here. You speaking to everybody. And it's just a cultural difference thing. It seems that in New York, it's polite if you just stay out of my business, stay out of my way, don't bother me. It's polite here if you speak. You don't just enter a room and not speak. In the South, it's polite if you say yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am. Sometimes that could be, a little sarcastic. Ma'am, I'm going to need you to get out of there, if I don't know your name. But up north, it doesn't seem to be necessary. Maybe a complete yes or no might be sufficient, and those are things that are important to know, too, when you're communicating. If you're from up north and you come down here to get a job, you might come across as rude, and they don't want you at their job because you're rude, and you're not rude at all. That's just your background. That is just your culture. But then you have to realize you are applying to work in a culture that's different from where you're from. And I'm just speaking north and south, but that could be, anything different. Like, I guess, Andre, what do you notice that's different here than in Michigan? What do we do different here than you all do in Michigan?
Well, they say soda here. They say soda. Isn't it soda here? If they want to drink, like pop, up north they say pop.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the things. I remember going to the store and said, I said, what pop you want? He said, what did you say? I asked them what they wanted to drink. They said, did you say pop? I said, yeah, I said pop. You must be from the north. I'm like, is that a bad thing? Is that a bad thing?
Hold on one moment. We have a caller on the line. Hold on. Thank you for calling. This needs to be said. Who do we have on the line with us? Okay, let me open your mic.
You got your boy Drew, a.k.a. Gangsta Ace.
Hello, Drew.
How you doing?
I'm wonderful. How are you today?
Other than the snow that we got up here in Michigan, I'm doing all right.
Well, I don't want to rain on your parade, but we have some really beautiful weather today. Nice going outside playing in the leaf weather.
There's somebody from Michigan up there.
That's what he said.
I'm in the capital. Actually, for people that don't know, I'm in the capital, which is Lansing, Michigan. That's where I stay at right now.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have a comment or question for us today? See, you hold on, Andre, because you're getting ready to get all, brother love and stuff. Hold on. Do you have a comment or question for us today?
Actually, I was just sitting there listening to some of the stuff that you guys were saying about North and South. And my whole thing about that is, it shouldn't be a common courtesy. You should be doing that everywhere, because I do that up here. And I've been living up here in the North for a minute. I was born and raised up here. But I do that yes, ma'am, no, sir thing. And, people turn me away up here because we do that. They're like, no, just call me by my name.
That is different.
And I've been raised up. That's the way my mom just taught me. And I expect wherever you go, you should be using that, no matter where you go. It shouldn't be.
Well, I would say the same thing. I think when you're raised that way, because that's what you're used to. And me and someone else on the team was talking last night, and we were talking about our differences and when we were raised. And what about your name? How important is your name, guys? Let me start there before I get too far into what we were saying last night. How important is your name for someone to get that right when they address you?
Me, I really, now if they're playing around, and they call me a girl name, whatever, it's not really that bad, if someone's joking around, but like I said, it really don't matter to me. On that, it's just so if you have a respect for that person, whatever. Yes, it is very. What do I want to say? I'm mismatched with my words right now because you got better weather than I do. But
don't be jealous. Don't. I'll enjoy it for you too. So that part's taken care of. Okay. Well, the discussion we had last night, me and another female. We were talking about this is very important. My first name is Katherine, and I know my whole name is Katherine Yolanda Waddell, but I know by what name you call me where you know me from. You call me Katherine, it's professional. It's at school or at work. You call me Yolanda, you from the neighborhood. You grew up with me because nobody calls me that anymore. And if you call me by my nickname, you're in the family, and if you're too close to the family and call me my nickname, it's trouble. But I know who you are or where you know me from by what name you use. Some people's name like I'm going to throw Kim up under the bus. Her name is not Kimberly, but we would think, okay, Kim must be short for Kimberly. Well, her name is Kim. So, you don't go and give her Kimberly, like you're being professional. Kim is her professional name. So we were thinking about, don't get too familiar with me if I haven't invited you in that space. And for us, it's a big deal. And how can you mess up Katherine? I'm thinking I've been called Karen. I've been called Kate, Kathy, Kat. Now, if someone asks permission, is it okay if I call you Kat? And I say, yes, it's different.
Well,
anyway.
Well, in that way that you put it like that, everybody has, any way that you come about, you got certain people that call you certain names if they're in the hood or they're in the profession. But if you look at it intentionally, it's all used in a professional manner because you got different people that call you Yolanda. You got different people that call you by your other name, It's still a professional manner. And that's where, like you said, you ask that person, can I call you Kat? That's what you should be doing, because you don't want to offend someone. And
well,
a lot
hope
of people
don't want to offend someone. You hope that, that they learn that in their values along with, how to address adults, because I'm noticing some adults. I remember I was doing mommy helpers, and the adults that in the house, they said, well, we don't, make our kids say yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am, but they understood the culture in which, they lived, and they understood I was from this culture, this end of the world, but they were from up north, and they said, well, our kids will, say yes and no. They won't say what, but we don't get into all of that Mr. and Mrs. You call, people by their first name, and I was like, whoa, that was a culture shock for me, and we're not from different countries. We're just from different states and cities.
Yeah.
And so I knew going into that.
Yeah. See, they also got to be understanding with you, though, too. They can't expect you just to change from what what your mom and or your state has raised you up to be.
Right.
They got to understand. Hey, she's being respectful. If they don't see that over there, that's a sign that's not a right place for you. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not trying to offend anybody in a different state, but that's giving you a sign right there.
Well, yeah, because there has to be some compromise. If you can know where I'm coming from, and I know where you're coming from, when I say certain things, I'm not saying it, deliberately to offend you, and nor are you doing the same to me. But that communication has to come in there, because it could come across the wrong way. So don't shorten my name, don't mispronounce my name. Let's try to get it right. You may, there's some people that will murder somebody's name, but then after a while everybody knows that, and they don't mean any harm by it. And then there's some people that just won't say your name right just out of spite. But it's a respect thing, and I think the energy goes with it. Guys, we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back and wrap up. So if you're still here with us, Dre, when we get back, then we will, and I said Dre.
You can't keep you off the line there. See what happened with that Dre?
Whatever. You stop messing with my head. I think he took away me remembering his name because I have the nice weather. I guess tell us your name again.
Drew.
It is Drew.
Drew. See, I got Dre and Drew. Okay. All right, we'll be back after this quick break. So, Drew, if you're still with us, we'll chat a little bit more.
Some people will say, Katherine, you're all over the place, and I'll say, not yet. But they say this because we have a website at www.thisneedstobesaid.com. We also have a blog spot at www.thisneedstobesaid.blogspot.com. And then we're also on Blog Talk Radio at www.blogtalkradio.com/TNTBS. And then we're also on Facebook, and we're also on LinkedIn. And you can also find me on MySpace and Twitter. But because my vision has been given to me to be much greater than the social medias in which you can find me now, just stay tuned. So when people say, Katherine, you're all over the place, I still tell them, not yet. My goal, my focus, my vision is to be where the people are. I don't want people to have to come and look for this information. I want to put it in front of them. I want to compel them to live a better life, to treat people better, to realize that we are our brother's keeper. Thank you for tuning in to This Needs to Be Said. There is an elephant in the room, and hey, we're going to talk about it. You were thinking it? We're going to talk about it.
Thank you for staying tuned to This Needs to Be Said. We've had a wonderful show. We have Drew and Dre on the line. See, I'm going to get these names right. And both of these guys are, one is in Michigan right now with the snow, and one is from Michigan. So anyway, the brotherly love thing is going on. But thank you for calling in from Michigan, absolutely. We have one announcement for tomorrow at 2 p.m. Pastor Juan Goodson will come every first Thursday, and he's going to help us with getting our house in order. So we're going to be looking at getting our spiritual house in order. And I want you guys to understand something, not because he's my pastor that he's on the show. That's one of the reasons, because I know him well. But it's not traditional church, and I think a lot of people, they're put in this box with church. And this person that I've been able to sit under and learn from is I have daily applications. I can use the word relevantly in my life. And it's not going to come across preachy or churchy. It's just talking. He always says, I'm not fussing, I'm just discussing. So tomorrow he's going to discuss with us one of his many topics. He's covering a series right now about just because you're a man doesn't make you a man. Just because you're a woman doesn't make you a woman. So we're going to learn, who we are and begin to understand ourselves. And, again, let's get rid of the blame game and start being accountable to ourselves and to our community and invest in making this world a better place because we were here. I mean, that's my personal goal, and I believe other people should have that same goal. Make the place better. Don't make people hate to see you coming, So, anyway, That's my announcement. Tune in tomorrow at 2 p.m. What you got, Andre and Drew?
Yeah, what's up?
I was gonna say, you know, it's Dre and Drew. I thought you knew. If you asked me what my favorite color was, you can guess it was blue. Yeah.
Yeah, boy.
What in the world?
Hey,
what have I got myself into?
I like to thank my fellow Michiganer, Lansing, representing there up there, Michigan State, you know, for coming on and listening in. You know, just invite your other fellow Michiganer brothers. You know, of course, you know I'm a Flintstone. I don't know if you right know that, but I'm a Flintstone. You know, and I definitely appreciate you coming on and listening in. You know, invite your friends in. I was thinking about the whole. You know, when you're preparing yourself for that job, you know, and you make sure you have the right things on your Facebook page. You know, you're not putting some weird, wacky stuff on there where people will come on and be and can judge you by those things that you see that you have posted on your Facebook.
Absolutely, Andre. Let Kim say something real quick because we're getting ready to go right off air.
My buddy Kim, go ahead.
I just want to say, Andre, it's a setup. First, you got the lady, one of your friends, to come on and talk good today. And you got your homeboy from Michigan to call in. So it's just a setup today for me and Catherine, but we will be back on our A game tomorrow, believe that.
See y'all tomorrow at 2.
Thank you for joining us. We hope you've gained something from what has been shared here today. Special thanks to the creators of the TNTBS jingle, which was written by Lamont Josie and composed by Robert Jenkins. Thank you to our sponsors, Proto Web Designs, the professional startup website, Granite Works of Charlotte, transforming homes and businesses, increasing value. Simply the Best with Chef Bernadette, Kim Ratliff, the visible voice of choice, Generally Fit, achieve wellness with a strategy, and Restoration Ministries Church of God in Christ. Thank you to everyone who has supported us by logging in online, through iTunes, and in the chat room, as well as on the phone line. There is an elephant in the room. Let's talk about it. You were thinking it. We're going to talk about it. Tune in tomorrow at 2 p.m.